The weekend is over, and a darn good-looking one at that. We're back at it here. It's Monday. We're not going to work real hard. You know that by now. That's just our tradition around here. We show up to work. We do our job. We don't work real hard. It's the 13th day of May, 2024. It is a Monday. I'm Dan Kuntz. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you had a chance to get out and enjoy. It was just gorgeous. 88 was the high on Saturday, 87 yesterday. Going to be about 10 degrees cooler than that today as that high pressure ridge that gave us all that beautiful mild weather really Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday already beginning to move out of our area. An oncoming system is going to come in. It's going to cool us down. It's going to be quite breezy, especially this afternoon. It's not real windy right now, but it's going to be as the day progresses, and very windy down in Ellensburg. They're going to get hammered down there. We got complete weather forecast details coming up. The news headlines will be following that. Sports, the Mariners took 2 of 3 from Oakland. We like that. Going into the series, Oakland had won 6 in a row, but the Mariners put the kibosh on that. We'll have highlights and everything that happened in the world of prep sports. Everybody but girls softball now going to the state tournaments over the next couple of weeks. Culminating with the state championship tournaments on almost all the spring sports over Memorial Day weekend. What teams moved on and where they're going, we'll let you know with sports. And in the back half of the program, we're going to re-air my visit with Joel Myrene of the Apple Valley Vinyl Record Expo, which is this Saturday right here in the big city. I will be there. If you're into collecting records and you know who you are, Joel's going to tell you everything you need to know about maybe picking up a record or two this Saturday at the IOOF Hall here in the big city. And Mike Minani has got an opinion about frozen pizza. That ought to be good. 2 minutes after the hour, let's take our tour around the valley. It is 61 degrees here in the big city. That is our Wenatchee Heights camera. We have that zoomed about as far back as we can get it to zoom. Still lots of green grass on the hills. It didn't bake off a great deal, even though we had lots of sunshine and lots of warmth and some serious snow melt. Rivers are starting to pick up a little bit. The Columbia River is still about where it should be, but the area streams and the smaller rivers are kind of picking up in intensity a little bit, getting a little higher on the banks and running a little bit faster because, again, the snow melts and it's got to go somewhere. Good morning to the Wenatchee Valley. Good morning to Leavenworth. Always good to see our folks up north. There you go. You can see that tree there. It's blowing a little bit up in Leavenworth. The real wind right now, not surprisingly, is in Ellensburg. Wind out of the northwest at 16 miles an hour down there. Here we are at about 10 miles an hour. But again, it's going to pick up in intensity. This approaching system, by the way, is very dry. Relative humidity is going to be bone dry. So any kind of fires that get a toehold going could really take off. And even though it's only May, it has happened before. That's just a gorgeous view from Leavenworth. Let's head on up to Bear Mountain and say good morning to Lake Chelan. Of all the photos that went viral of the amazing light show that Mother Nature put on Friday night especially, not quite as much on Saturday, almost all of the great photos that I saw over the weekend were shot up at Lake Chelan. Just spectacular. Good morning to Lake Chelan from our Bear Mountain camera, looking up towards the Holden Village and the Stehekin area. And finally, speaking of Lake Chelan, we'll take a little peek at McNeil Canyon, looking up over the top of Lake Chelan with Chelan proper on your left. Kind of make out the airport a little bit. And the Butte is on your far left as well. Good morning to Lake Chelan. Just a couple of high clouds up there. You're going to be windy too up there, up at the lake. Right now there's no wind at all in Manson according to what I'm seeing here, but that's going to change as well. The big wind again is going to be down in Ellensburg. In fact, here's a slide from the National Weather Service. And look at the dark red in Ellensburg. In fact, they have a wind advisory for the Ellensburg and Cle Elum area. That's how strong the winds are going to be down there. And Yakima is going to get pounded pretty good. These are wind gusts, not sustained winds. Our sustained winds are going to be about 20 miles an hour this afternoon, but those gusts between 35 and 40, certainly not out in the question. Of course, you got to watch out for blowing dust out in the Columbia Basin because they don't have any trees or anything really holding the soil to the earth, so it could get blown across I-90 between St. George to Ritzville. We shall see. But again, very windy in the locations that you see there with wind gusts in the valley in the afternoon hours, 35, maybe even 40 miles an hour. I'm glad I didn't wear my toupee today. From the National Weather Service, here we go. The other thing that's going to be going on as the system runs in is the clouds are going to thicken up a little bit. They're not going to be low-hanging clouds. They'll be high clouds, but they're going to be prevalent by the afternoon hours. We'll get up to about 74, and again, quite windy at times, especially this afternoon. And the wind isn't going to really die down a whole bunch tonight. Still going to be breezy in the overnight hours, gusts at 30 miles an hour possible this evening, 50 for the overnight low. Keep in mind now our normal high and low is 70 and 50. That's about right. Tuesday, sunshine, a little breezy, not nearly as windy as today. High of 79, warmer still Wednesday, lots of sunshine. We'll be pretty much done with the wind. By Wednesday, we'll top off at 83, then to 84 on Thursday, and then another system rolls in on Friday, especially in the afternoon hours. So the temperatures are going to go back down again as the breezy winds return and the cooler conditions return on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Outside of today, when we'll see some clouds coming in and then leaving with the windy conditions, we're going to see sunshine right through the forecast period. I like that. 6 minutes after the hour, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll let you know what made news. You're watching a Monday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life Channel. The family at the Epladolin want to help your loved one feel at ease in their new home environment. Epladolin offers beautiful one-bedroom and studio apartments. Residents enjoy 3 delicious home-style meals a day, laundry service, housekeeping service, and encouragement to make themselves cozy in their new home. Epladolin welcomes your family to come and visit their family. Epladolin, independent and assisted living. They make the complicated easy for you. Call today for a tour.
The Lake Chelan Rotary Club invites you to experience Cycle Chelan, held each year on the 3rd Saturday in June. Pick your thrill from 3 rides: the Metric Century Challenge, Cycle Divino, or the Lake Loop. All profits from Cycle Chelan are used to support student scholarships and other charitable activities of the Lake Chelan Rotary Club. Cycle Chelan, a route for every rider. Pick your thrill today.
A ductless unit from Carrier can keep anyone comfortable. Take Shelly, for instance. She finds me time in her new attic-turned-home gym. And with her Carrier ductless unit, the temperature is always perfect. No matter how intense her workout gets. Carrier. Total comfort, totally happy.
Turn to the experts, Carrier and Alpine Air. Heat and air, call Alpine Air.
Water is essential to living. From clean drinking water for good health to clean water for your pool or spa. Central Washington Water, your water experts. With whole home water filtration systems for your home's best water. Products and supplies to keep your pool and spa water crystal clear to a full parts department. Count on Central Washington Water for expert help. Shop screen to screen. Come in or call about a backyard consultation. Central Washington Water, your water care professionals.
A lot of sunshine, 61 degrees, not real windy right now. It's going to be this afternoon. Sustained winds at 20, gusts above 30 at times. Windy tonight, a gradual warming trend and then a gradual cooling trend. But sunshine will rule the day for the next 7 days or so. It's 8 minutes after the hour. A Kent man was critically injured after the motorcycle he was operating was struck by a car. This happened on Highway 2, 10 miles west of Leavenworth on Saturday afternoon. According to the Washington State Patrol, at about 4:15 on Saturday afternoon, 58-year-old Stephen T. Kowalczyk was driving a 2015 Triumph Tiger motorcycle eastbound on the highway when his motorcycle collided head-on with a 2000 Honda Accord that had turned onto the highway from a private road. Kowalczyk was airlifted to Harborview Medical Center in Seattle. The driver of the Accord, 36-year-old Stephen M. Perez of Wenatchee, was not injured. The cause of the accident is under investigation, but the State Patrol says drugs or alcohol was a factor. After months of advocacy work, parents and supporters of Columbia Elementary School await the Wenatchee School Board's final decision on whether or not to close Columbia Elementary. Members of the Columbia Parent Advocate Group have pushed back against the idea of closing the school since the announcement was made back in January. After nearly 90 days of attending meetings, hearings, holding rallies, and reviewing district materials, the group will hear the decision tomorrow night. 2 parents, Emily Bjork and Brittany Stevens, spoke to NCW Life about their lingering concerns and discussed how they would react if Columbia closes.
I'll be very sad and disappointed. but also try to refocus and continue to be a positive influence on my children, and in coordination with my husband to help our child transition to Lincoln, which would be the school where we would be reassigned to. And then our daughter will not be able to go to school yet because she would be going to TK, but Lincoln doesn't have that opportunity for us if Columbia were to close.
Yeah, we would be going to Washington, and our children would be okay. But I know that I'm saying that from a place of privilege as, you know, someone who has a 2-parent household with steady incomes and college educations and, you know, a loving family, and not every kid has that. So for us personally, like Emily said, we'll reframe and we'll get our kids excited for this new adventure that they get to be on. Mm-hmm. I think there's also a lot of repairing within the community that will need to be done, especially with, you know, big elections coming up and, mm-hmm. You know, school funding just kind of being on the fritz across the state. I think it's really important that regardless of what decision is made, that the district recognizes that and makes a really strong effort to show up for their community.
Our group's also significantly concerned about the school crossing areas. You know, children crossing Miller Street in the morning at commute times, 7:30 to get to Washington, and children crossing Ferry Street around the same time poses a huge safety risk. I know the city is working on coming up with a tentative plan should the school close to try to implement some safety changes, and the district has talked about hiring adult crossing guards. But unfortunately, some of the bigger safety projects, like putting sidewalks all the way up Okanagan Avenue or installing school zone lighting, that kind of stuff, won't be able to be implemented prior to the start of the school year. And all that, as I understand it, is funded through grants, which have to be applied for, and you have to wait for that. So really you're looking at more of a 2-year process, and the risk for children getting hit on that road is pretty high. So that's a huge concern for us.
I think another issue that we've been discussing a lot is just the size of mm-hmm. population that will be at Washington and Lincoln. From what I know of having taught in an elementary school before, a lot of those spaces that are not being used, you know, are being used for intervention and other, you know, great innovative ways that education has evolved over the years. And so I worry that our students won't be served the way that they will, although the district does say that they will be served that way. Yeah. So I don't want to spread anything, or, you know, but it's just a concern that I haven't been fully convinced is not a concern yet. I think school districts need community support. It's, you know, schools are the lifeblood of our society, and having people who are there and paying attention and keeping track, and then occasionally there to kind of steer, you know, mm-hmm. a wayward thing back into course. I think it's really valuable. So hopefully people stay in touch and aren't just like, okay, well that's done and I'm gonna sign off forever and, you know, wait till the next crisis and see what happens.
Chelan County forests in and around Chelan County continue to see damage from beetles that feast on pine, spruce, and fir trees. The western pine beetle, the balsam bark beetle, the spruce beetle, and the fir engraver beetle, they're all found in Washington forests. And the latest forest health report from the Department of Natural Resources finds that tree populations in Chelan and Okanagan counties, they are among those that suffer the most. Surveyors say the highest concentration of lodgepole pine mortality from mountain pine beetles in lodgepole has occurred in high elevation areas of Chelan County, Okanagan County, Yakima County, Kittitas, Ferry, and Pend Oreille counties. Among the bright spots on the report, there's been no infestation or no new infestation of the tussock fir moth, which severely damaged fir trees in Kittitas, Chelan, and Okanagan counties back in 2018. A Wenatchee Elementary School music teacher has been inducted into a Hall of Fame. That's cool. In fact, it's the Music Educators Association Hall of Fame. Tammy Lupashinsky was recognized as the Outstanding Music Educator for the North Central region for the class of 2024. Lupashinsky was inducted during the WMEA State Conference in Yakima earlier this month, was nominated by fellow Wenatchee School District music teachers Garrett Snedeker and Ashlyn Dobbins. The Washington Music Educators Hall of Fame recognizes exceptional support, inspiration, and outstanding contributions to the growth and development of music education. According to the press release from the Wenatchee School District, Lupashinsky started teaching in the district in 1999. She will retire in June. Transportation crews will be doing some pavement work on the Apple Capital Recreation Loop Trail. They're going to be doing it tomorrow on the Douglas County-owned section of the trail. The work will address some tree root damage. They're going to repair some sinkholes and some seal cracks. In the morning hours, crews will be working from 3rd Street South to the parking lot at Kirby Billingsley Hydro Park, and then in the afternoon, they're going to shift to the 19th Street Northeast, north towards the Otabashan Bridge. Work crews will place signage ahead of the impacted areas. There may be certain sections of the trail where users will need to go to one side or the other. The Complete the Loop Coalition awarded Douglas County with supplemental grants to help pay for the trail work. And a new fundraiser has raised over $2,000 for choir programs in the Cascade School District. The Cascade Choir Crescendo campaign was created by the Cascade PTSA, the Cascade High School Choir, and band boosters to support the programs. The school district is currently in a $1 million budget shortfall due to increasing enrollment and inflation. The budget woes have led the district to be unable to fund choir programs at both the high school and the Icicle Creek Middle School. The campaign website, which can be found on the fundraising platform Zephy, says an anonymous donor will match donations up to $20,000. That's the news. Just about 17 minutes after the hour. Whatever made news over the weekend, we will have for you tonight. The news at 5, 6, and 10, 5, 6, and 10 on television. If you don't do television, you know, you're doing it in a way. But I mean, if you watch like television on the web or smart TV, we got you covered. Our news will be up and running on our homepage, ncwlife.com, and our YouTube page, our Facebook page, our app, wherever it is, it's going to be there. You can't miss it. Download our app if you want to. That's how you do it right there. There's your QR code, and there's something out there you think warrants our attention. You send us an email, and you're good at doing that. news@ncwlife.com. Pretty good weekend for the Mariners, and we're pretty much ready to go for state spring sports competition in the world of prep sports. That's next. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
My name is Anna Marie. I've lived at Prestige here for 6.5 years, and I love it. They just made you feel so welcome. I love my room. I get 3 meals a day, do as I darn well want to. I've loved it ever since I moved in.
Mom's a wonderful, wonderful lady. She deserved the very best, and I got it for her here at Prestige.
The Lake Chelan Chamber of Commerce presents Wonders of Wooden Avenue.
A walk on Wooden Avenue wouldn't be complete without a stop at the Chelan Chamber of Commerce. There you'll find all the information you need about local businesses, events, and activities across the entire Chelan Valley.
Lake Chelan Sports is the place to find top brands like Hoka, On's, Patagonia, and now a full line of Warrior products. With excellent customer service, Lake Chelan Sports has what you need.
Wonders of Wooden Avenue, North Central Washington's premier shopping district.
Most of us are in touch with the internet in one way or another all day long. A fast, secure connection matters. It keeps us entertained, informed, and in touch. Local cares about your connection. We know strong, reliable internet with your choice of speed makes life better. If you need fast, reliable internet, or maybe an upgrade, or you just have questions, connect with us by visiting localtel.com or call 509-888-8888 today.
Sports at 19 minutes after the hour. Julio Rodriguez had a 2-run home run. Mitch Garver had a 2-run home run. Louis Castillo allowed just a couple of runs over 6 strong innings. And the Mariners beat the Oakland Athletics 8-4 yesterday to take 2 of 3 from the A's.
The DH, and again the 0-2 pitch to Garver. There goes Dylan, low and inside, a ball to throw it on a second by Langoliers on a hop, not in time. Dylan Moore with stolen base number 6 on the season.
So many positive things happening for Dylan Moyer. Don't look at the .218 batting average.
And now the Mariners have a man on in scoring position with 2 outs here in the bottom of the first inning. Moore lead at second. Here's the pitch. Swung on, line drive. Base hit left center field. Dylan around in third. Down the stretch he comes. He scores standing up, and the Mariners have a 1-0 lead here in the bottom of the first inning on a solid base hit by Mitch Garver. What an at-bat for Mitch, working the count full and laces one back up the middle.
Here's Sam Haggerty playing in his 7th game, 0 for 9. I told you before the game, Mike, I feel a breakout. Sammy, base hit, there we go, center field, his first knock, first RBI, and the Mariners have a 2-0 lead. Well, I got that one right.
And the sacrifice pays off.
Sure did. Sam's first hit, first RBI.
Still a good situation for the Mariners, first and third, with just the 1 out. And you're back to the top of the lineup. Dylan had a base hit and scored the 1 run.
Bleday giving chase on the track, makes the catch, a risk, and walk home. It's 3-0. Mariners, Demo with a sac fly. RBI number 13. Good inning.
And some quality at-bats in this inning.
Boy, some cha-ching on that E6 and the walk. They both scored.
And Julio, with that power, is always in scoring position, but looking for his 2nd home run of the year.
And runner goes, pitch, and he gets this one in the air, straightaway center. Bleday giving ground, running out of room. Goodbye! There it is, the first home run in the ballpark here at T-Mobile Park for Julio. It's a 2-run shot. The Mariners have a 5-0 lead here in the 2nd inning. 2-3-4 here in the 5th inning. That's hit pretty well. Bleday can go get it. And, oh, baby, off the fence. Julio, he just missed another home run. Getting it in the air, which we've been hearing for the last couple of weeks. Once he starts getting it in the air, it's a difference maker.
Good things happen. Wow.
That's a double off the wall. Usually at a ground ball right at the shortstop, you kind of hold anything to his right, you hold anything to his left, you go. But Julio with his speed got a good jump. So Julio on at third with 1 out. Mariners looking to add on to the 5-1 lead. And here's Mitch Garver.
That is cranked. Plenty good for Julio to tag. In fact, how good is it? It's gone! Mitch Garver with a 2-run homer. A 3 RBI day for him. 7-1 Mariners.
Mariners in a stretch of playing 13 games in 13 days. That continues tonight. They open a 3-game set at T-Mobile Park against the Royals. George Kirby will start for the Mariners. Brady Singer gets the nod for Kansas City. First pitch is at 6:40. The Mariners now have a half-game lead over the Rangers in the AL West because the Rangers dropped a 3-1 decision to the Rockies yesterday. The Royals come into town, got by the Angels, doubled them up 4-2, and the Astros crushed the Tigers 9-3. All right, prep soccer over the weekend. Eastmont, after beating Wenatchee on Thursday to stay alive in the District 6 tournament, went down to Yakima. Davis scored 3 quick goals in the first half and cruised from there. So Davis moves on to the state tournament. Eastmont, their season comes to an end, 4-0 losers on the pitch. And in the District 6 AB tournament, big upset. Quincy beats Cascade 1-0 for the District 6 championship. Cascade had not lost a match all year until Saturday afternoon. Kashmir, they punched their ticket to state by beating Bridgeport. The final there was 4-1. So who plays whom and when in the state 1A tournament? Kashmir will take on Riverside. That will be tomorrow at 5 o'clock at Lee Bofto Field at the Apple Bowl. Riverside is an 18 seed. Kashmir is a 15 seed. The 10 seed Quincy will travel to take on Toppenish on Friday, where we don't know yet. They haven't figured that one out. And Cascade, even though they lost the district championship, they're still the #1 seed in the entire state. They have to wait till Friday. They don't know who they're going to play yet. They have to take on the winner of Matasano and Kilauea. Those two will do battle tomorrow, and then the winner of that will take on Cascade. Baseball on Friday, all of it playoffs in the District 6 1B district tournament. Riverside Christian moves on to state by knocking off Moses Lake Christian 15-13. And then a District 6 4A tournament. Moses Lake crushed Eastmont in the championship. The final there was 8-2. Davis defeated West Valley 1-0 in a loser out game. Eastmont then went on to win on Saturday. They beat Davis in a loser out game 9-1. So Eastmont moves on to state, as does Kashmir, who knocked off Chelan for the championships 6-0. Quincy beat Omak in a loser-out game 3-2, and then Chelan beat Quincy in a loser-out game 3-2. So Chelan and Kashmir move on to the state in the 1A tournament. In fact, here is your schedule. Number 11, Eastmont. Eastmont will be a number 11 seed. They'll take on number 6 seed Tahoma. That will be Saturday in Lacey. Number 10 seed Moses Lake will take on number 7 seed Curtis. That will be in Puyallup on Saturday. In the 1A tournament, number 15 seed Chelan will take on 2nd seeded Cedar Park Christian. That will be Saturday in Bellingham. Cashmere will take on Overlake on Saturday. Where, however, we don't know yet. Softball on Friday. Here's your scoreboard. Wenatchee swept Sunnyside at Walla Walla Point Park. They won the opener 13-4, and then the nightcap 20-10. Moses Lake and Eastmont split. Moses Lake won the opener 2-1. Eastmont took the second one 15-4. In the District 6 2B tournament, Okanagan over Brewster 17-7. Lake Roosevelt beat Tenasket 8-7. That was Friday. More Saturday in the CWAC District Tournament. Ephrata eliminated East Valley 18-14, and then Othello shut out Ephrata 13-0. Sela got by Prosser 9-0, and in a blowout, East Valley beat Cascade 10-0. And in the final regular season finale in the Caribou Trail League, OMAC swept Cascade 7-0 and 7-0. And those are just some of the games that people are playing on this 13th day of May. I could have celebrated National Crouton Day. Decided against that. It's National Frog Jumping Day. It's National Fruit Cocktail Day. But today we celebrate the second most popular dessert in America. Chocolate cake is number 1. Number 2, the good old apple pie. There's something about apples that just lends themselves to pies. Now, we think of apple pie as an American thing. You know, America, apple pie, Chevrolet, that kind of stuff. The very first apple pie recipe that somebody actually bothered to write down was in England in the year 1310. That was a long time ago. And you don't want to know what they put in the apple pie because it was designed to have a long shelf life so they could take it on the road. You didn't want to eat it. So yeah, the apple pie existed long before the Pilgrims made it over, but you know, here we are, and I mean, that looks good right now. Apple pie, pie a la mode. Sounds really good right now. So, and pies used to get a bad name. During the early part of the 20th century, people were told, no, don't eat pies because they're not good for you, except the apple pie. The apple pie became popular because hey, it's apples, it must be good for you, right? Apple pie day today. I, for one, want one right now. Let's do today in history. May 13th, 1970s, that'd make it 54 years ago today, the world premiere of the Beatles film Let It Be took place in New York City. None of the Beatles attended. Of course, they weren't really getting along at that point. The Beatles, of course, were no longer existed by May 13th, 1970. I rented Let It Be on a Betamax, because we had a beta. I rented the movie about 1978, 79 or so. And it looked just terrible. It looked awful. It just was a bad, I don't know if it was a bad print. Well, then I did a little research. Turns out Let It Be was supposed to be a television special, and then it became a motion picture because they still owed United Artists one more movie in their movie contract. They signed a 3-picture deal with United Artists. They did A Hard Day's Night. They did Help. And they didn't do anything. And United Artists says, hey, you owe us a movie. So instead of making it a TV show, they made it a full-length motion picture to be released in theaters so they could fulfill their contractual obligation. Well, because it was originally supposed to be a TV show, TV special, it was filmed in 16 millimeter, smaller stock. And then because it decided to make a movie, they blew up the 16 millimeter negative to 32 millimeter, so it would be theater, and it was all fuzzy and the sound was lousy. Now, of course, they've cleaned it all up, and you can watch the original Let It Be now. It's back out there on streaming services, I believe Disney Plus, I don't know. Let It Be premiered 54 years ago today. 43 years ago today, I remember this. Mehet Ali Akka attempts to assassinate the Pope. Pope John Paul II at St. Peter's Square in Rome. The Pope came very close to bleeding to death, but when you're the Pope, you get pretty good health care. Here's a contemporary newscast from CBS.
A terrible quiet fell on the thousands who were gathered at St. Peter's Square at the Vatican today. A shocked quiet. 10,000 or more had come to receive the blessing of Pope John Paul. Instead, amongst the cheering and the peal of bells announcing the arrival of the Pope, they heard gunfire and saw the Pope turn pale and collapse, bloody, into the arms of his aides. Pope John Paul II had been shot. A Turkish terrorist who had threatened to kill the Pope 2 years ago, is being held tonight by Italian police, the main suspect in the shooting. His Holiness was immediately thought to be in grave condition as he was brought into the operating room. Then, for over 4 hours, surgeons worked. His most serious wound, a shot through his abdomen. Doctors removed 2 parts of the Pope's intestines. The doctors called the operation, quote, successful. Tonight, they say, the Pope's condition, however, is guarded because, after all, there is still the possibility of infection. This act of violence directed against a man of peace stunned the world.
Dan, it is already the early hours of Thursday morning in Rome. The Vatican, like the rest of the world, is trying to adjust to the shock of this attack on the life of Pope John Paul II. Doug Tennell is standing by now to tell us more about the mood of Rome at this hour. And Doug, it must be a somber scene indeed there where you are.
Certainly is. There is very much the atmosphere of shock, even in these early hours. Small groups of people are still walking through St. Peter's Square, looking for the exact place where what happened today happened, talking with the people there, exchanging the latest word on the condition of the Pope, and of course some of them on bended knee praying before portraits of the Pope and hoping for his speedy recovery.
The Pope, of course, eventually recovered, and a few years later he went to the prison where Maet Ali Akka was being held and forgave him for trying to kill him. That was on this date in 1981. The late lamented American Basketball Association played their final game on May 13th, 1976. The merger had already been announced. A couple of teams dropped out of the league. A couple of teams have written big fat checks to go away. And here is how it ended when the Nets defeat the Nuggets 112-106 to win the final ABA championship.
Skinner has the ball. 5 seconds to the championship. Rick Jones, it's all over. It's all over with 3 seconds to go. And the crowd storms onto the court. 1 second, the clock is out, and the ball game's over. Pandemonium as the New York Nets win 112-106.
Ironically enough, the two teams that played in the championship, the Nets and the Nuggets, had petitioned the NBA to join the NBA the previous year in 1975, but the NBA turned them down. The Nets, the Nuggets, the San Antonio Spurs, and the Indiana Pacers would join the NBA in the fall of 1976, and the ABA was no more. Birthdays. One sports legend, a heavenly birthday today, born 110 years ago, the pride of Detroit, Joe Louis. His professional boxing record, pretty impressive. 66-3. Voted at the end of the 20th century as the greatest heavyweight boxer of all time. Not too sure about that, but he's certainly in the conversation. And his 2 most famous quotes about boxing in a boxing ring. He can run, but he can't hide. And everybody has a plan until they get hit. Joe Louis, born in this state 110 years ago. Stevie Wonder. There are 4 records that you absolutely have to have in your library, and they all came out consecutively. Music of My Mind, Talking Book, Inner Visions, which is phenomenal, and Songs in the Key of Life. He has 25 Grammy Awards, which is more than any other solo artist in history, and he was the youngest living inductee into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame when he was inducted in 1989. He was only 38 years old. Of course, he had a #1 hit when he was like 12, so that helps. Stevie Wonder, the legend, is 74 years old today. And Stephen Colbert celebrates birthday number 60, The Colbert Report. And of course, he's been running The Late Show on CBS for about 9 years now. Stephen Colbert is 60 years old today. Special thanks to our platinum sponsor. That's as good as it gets. Well, not those guys. They're good, too. We love our friends at Pool to Spa Services. You think about getting a pool in the warmth of the weekend? Well, you know, give them a call. Also, of course, they got the chemicals, Pool to Spa Services. There's our platinum sponsor, Alpine Air. For heat and air, call Alpine Air. My air conditioner worked this weekend. I hope yours did, too. And if it didn't, give them a call. We'll get it out there and get her fixed right away. And to our friends at Prestige Senior Living at Colonial Vista, both in Wenatchee and East Wenatchee. Mike Magnotti does not like frozen pizza. Don't take my word for it. He's going to tell you all about it next. And then Joel Myrene, the man who puts on the Apple Valley Vinyl Record Expo, which is this Saturday. We'll be dropping by to talk a little records with somebody who knows what he's talking about, me. That's coming up. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Come on, I'm a certified technician. I was trained to take good care of you.
9. I've only been to the dealer.
I've been coming here for years. These guys are great.
Look around. The BMW, the Jag, the Volvo, they're all waiting for regular service. Well, the BMW has a little computer issue, but that's nothing we can't handle. Come on in.
From regular maintenance to computer troubleshooting, trust the Global Car Care technicians with your import, diesel-powered, or domestic vehicle. Global Car Care, they speak your car's language.
Dankeschön.
Family roles change with time. You may find yourself being an unpaid caregiver to a loved one. Caregiving can be rewarding, but also stressful. Taking care of yourself is vital. Aging and Adult Care of Central Washington has low or no cost services for unpaid caregivers, such as in-home support, care supplies, and counseling. Connect in your local area by calling Aging and Adult Care at 800-572-4459 and mention you're interested in caregiver support.
Oh, look at this.
This would look really good in the kitchen.
Or the living room. Just look at it.
New windows are a work of art. Upgrade your home's windows and get cash back from Chelan County PUD.
This is gonna look great in the house.
This is Mike Maddox. Everybody is entitled to my opinion now. I recently saw an ad for a frozen pizza company claiming their product was New York style. No, there's no such thing as frozen New York style pizza or any kind of frozen pizza for that matter. Look, you can freeze shrimp and it's still shrimp. When it thaws, it's still shrimp, as are green beans, tater tots, or a chicken pot pie. But freezing pizza and then adding insult to injury and calling it New York style, oh gosh, may God forgive them for their blasphemy. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
My name's Nick Dirk, and I've been a cinematographer-photographer for over 10 years. I got my start at the Wenatchee Valley Technical Skills Center. Without the Tech Center, I wouldn't have got my first job in media production 3 months after I graduated high school.
My name is Charlie Voris, and I own Vortex Productions. My work has taken me on exciting adventures all around the world, and I got my start at Wenatchee Valley Tech.
Hey, my name is Ole Mingo, and I'm the Executive Director at Heirloom Creatives in Wenatchee. I am so thankful for Wenatchee Valley Tech to be able to have my dream career.
For more than 60 years, Crown Furniture and Mattress has been making North Central Washington the most comfortable place to live, one home at a time. We're offering store-wide savings and closeouts. Save on recliners, mattresses, dining, sofa and loves, occasional tables, and bedroom groups. Some items discounted to employee pricing. There's no better time to purchase quality at a great price. Limited to stock on hand. See us today at 736 South Wenatchee Avenue, across from Stan's.
Hey folks, this is Blueberry Carrie bringing you a public service announcement. With today's fast pace, sometimes you just need to be reminded to just breathe. Come on out to Blueberry Hills and enjoy the panorama of beautiful blueberry fields and these gorgeous North Cascades mountains. Your food is always cooked fresh to order, and our down-home scratch country recipes are always well worth the wait. Our delicious breakfast dips, pies, and pastries await you and your family. So come on out to Blueberry Hills in Manson. It's where the world is coming to.
Welcome back to the program. Attention all vinyl junkies. You know it's coming. If you don't know, you're about ready to find out. The third annual Apple Valley Record Expo is almost upon us. It's going to be the 18th day of May. Joel Myrene is the guy who puts it on. He's no stranger to this show. Third appearance, right? You've done one for each of our deal. Great story. I met Joel. Did an interview a couple of years ago up at Walla Walla Point Park. And you came up to me afterwards with the kids and said, hey, I heard you're into records, and yeah, I'm kind of into records. I have a couple, and we kind of got together on that. This is the third one.
Yep.
The only one though this year.
Yes. Yeah.
You did one last year in 2023. You did one in May and in November. The May one was a good start because you don't know what you're doing, and is anybody going to show up? People did.
Yeah.
I went to the May one. It was very well attended. I went to the November one. It was very well attended last November, and I picked up some pretty good vinyl along the way. But you're only doing one this year. Why is that?
It's a lot of work to put this on. It's less work this year now that I have the kind of groundwork laid out. But it's a time issue, kind of with full-time job, family, and just trying to have a good family balance. But I think that the demand would definitely be there for record buyers and vendors. But just trying to keep it to one, to just make it as big as possible, for now.
And it's gone really well, or you wouldn't be doing this again.
Yeah, it has gone well. So I'm excited for just doing it once this year. How the turnout's going to be for that. So
what do you hear from your vendors? We'll go with last November because that one was really good. Obviously, when it's all said and done, you're talking to the folks who rented out table space to sell their vinyl. What did you hear from them?
A lot of the vendors from the fall show were returners from the spring show, and then we have some kind of three-peat people vendors. So they were happy with their sales and everything too. So we do have a lot of returners, and I also have been kind of hitting the ground trying to get a lot of new vendors, which we have from Western Washington, as far as Missoula, Montana. We have a record store coming, and then I think touching into Northern Oregon. So
when we throw the poster up, and we're going to do that in just a little bit, you'll notice to rent table space, do this. That's kind of you can't do that anywhere. Are you sold out?
Yeah, vendor spots for this year's show are sold out. We are doing a wait list, so you can contact me on Facebook or Instagram via message, and I can put you on the wait list. But spots got full about 6 weeks ago or so. Yeah,
that's a nice problem to have.
It is. Yeah, it is a very nice problem to have. Yeah.
Do you make? I know this is a stupid question. Do you make money on this, or is this just kind of a labor of love?
It's kind of a labor of love. It does not lose money. Okay. So it essentially any money that's above the operating expenses, I just kind of throw back into it. So yeah, it's you could not support a family by doing this.
You've been doing a lot of research since last November. You've been traveling around Western Washington, all over the place, really, checking out other independent record stores, other record expos, and picking up little tips and stuff like that?
Yeah, just kind of seeing, because last year, to be completely honest, I had never been to a record show before putting this on, and, started kind of going out and doing that. Record shows are pretty straightforward. There's not a whole lot to them. I was just kind of went there to see what other people are doing, get some more ideas, too, for, maybe next year we'll have somebody spinning records, a DJ. I'll be spinning records anyway, but
you did a good job last year.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just visiting those shows to talk to vendors, to drum up interest, just kind of getting the name out there, and visiting a lot of record stores. Yeah.
And who's kidding who? Since you're running it, you get first crack at the really cool vinyl, right? I mean,
I know.
When the vendors are setting up, you're going, "Hey, Bob, how much for that?"
If there's time, it is true. I would get first crack at it, but it's a little hectic right before it opens, so it's kind of like I want to run over to the tables to check things out, but at the same time, you have to make sure everything's flowing pretty smoothly too.
And there hasn't been any really significant hiccups at all.
No, it's gone pretty well. I didn't know what to expect. I had, I think, probably too many extra helpers, volunteers at the first one, and I realized, I just wanted to be safe to make sure I, had all the help I needed, and it's gone quite well, thankfully.
There are some new things this year, and some of the old stuff. I'll start out by saying, right off the top, if you're willing to fork over $5, and it's worth $5 for early admission, you get in the door, because it actually opens at 11, right?
It does, 11 to 4 p.m. Free.
On the 18th of May, but if you're willing to fork over $5, you can get in as early as 10.
Yep. Yeah, and going in at 10, it really gives you first crack at records, which is great for serious collectors or just collectors that want to have the best selection. It also really helps keep this thing going too, help support the expo.
Well, that's what I did last year. Me and my good friend Tucker, we forked over the $5 at 10 o'clock, and I'm glad I did. I got some great stuff. Some stuff I was looking for a long time. I also had a chance to replace about 3 albums that went to album heaven somewhere along the way in my 59 years of living, and I was able to find replacement copies for those. All genres, pretty much, right?
Yeah, I think all genres. That's one of the things I was hoping for with previous expos too, just to get well-rounded, you know, whether it's like classic rock, 60s garage, you know, to like even, you know, like punk, garage rock, hip hop, all that kind of stuff. Yep.
Do you mentioned you really don't have enough time to go from table to table, but did you notice that some of the vendors just take a bunch of records and stick them in boxes and go at it? And others I've noticed, and I noticed this especially in November, they take a great deal of care in how they present their records and how they're displayed, and they're willing to answer any kind of questions you may have. Can I take it out of the sleeve and look at the condition, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it's a mix. You'll have a lot of people with their tables are just full, you know, and so it might take more time to go through it, and maybe those aren't the high dollar records, whereas like you'll find the more curated tables, maybe they have only 3 boxes on the whole table, but those are going to be very high quality records typically.
And that's where I got my vinyl. I bought, I don't know, 6 records last November. I only bought 2 in May. In the November one, I bought like 6 or 7 records. I went way past my budget, but I'm glad I did. Let's go back in time just a little bit. The whole impetus of this, was it just that vinyl is having a resurgence? Your interest in it, you had enough people in your social media circle that you thought maybe you could have a go of making this happen in a little old Wenatchee town?
Yeah, it kind of started, you know, we used to go to shows at the Oddfellows Hall years and years ago in the late 90s, and I used to put on shows there, and just talking to a friend about that. We were both record collectors, and a couple days later I just got to thinking, like, you know, there's no record stores here, you know, heck, why don't I just, you know, do this at the Oddfellows Hall and make you know, a 2-story record store for the day, you know, in Wenatchee. So,
and maybe it's indicative of the renaissance and revival of vinyl records, is that you can buy records at Target and Walmart now, and you couldn't do that 5 years ago.
Yeah, and you know, they will have newer releases or some kind of, you know, compilations of best ofs, but and it's nice to have that selection a little bit, but they're, you know, the closest thing to a record store here is, you know, Ellensburg, probably, Spokane, Seattle. So to have it, you know, this giant, you know, get together of people for a day is just, that's the goal. So,
and keep in mind, for fans of pure analog sound, that you are going to get with a stylus and a turntable and hopefully a nice receiver and good speakers and a good turntable and a good stylus. If you're buying a vinyl record at Target or Walmart or whatever it is, they're vinyl records, but the source material is almost certainly going to be digital.
It is.
It's as simple as that. You might as well just download it.
And sometimes those repressings or reproductions, they come from digital masters, and
you don't want that.
It just, sometimes I think the best sounding pressings are those 1960s and 70s pressings that were mastered for vinyl and pressed.
They were cut that way. That's the way the mother was cut, and most importantly, the quality of the vinyl was very high in the 60s and 70s before the petroleum crisis and the energy crisis in 73 and 74. Then they started making vinyl records with recycled stuff. It just wasn't the real deal.
Yeah.
And you can tell.
Yeah. I have some pressings from the 90s from a lot of garage rock stuff and rock and roll stuff, and some of that, it sounds so bad.
Yeah.
But you know, I love the music, but some of those pressings I have from the 90s are just awful. They're almost unlistenable.
Real collectors will tell you, and I'm one of them, any German or Japanese vinyl pressing that you can find is going to be worth it, because they take great care in the mastering process, and you're going to get true analog regardless of when it was made. Japanese and German pressings, as you mentioned before, the U.S. pressings from the 60s and 70s are pretty good as well. new stuff this year.
Yeah,
you have a new album featured. You did this last November, right?
Yeah. So every record expo we try to have a featured record with local ties, and this year it is this album. I think it's Broken by Not All There, who's a local Wenatchee band of 26 years. So they have to be very close to being the longest running band in Wenatchee. I think Kevin Jones' band though has been around for 30 years or so. But
I don't know why Kevin just doesn't move to Wenatchee. I mean, he just won't do it.
Yeah, we'll have this album for sale for $20 at the expo table.
How many copies of this exist?
I think there's about 200 copies of that.
So you might be out of luck if you show up at 1 o'clock on the 18th and want a copy
Hopefully,
of
if all goes well for this band, we'll sell a lot of those. Yeah. But earlier the better to get availability for that.
Where was this recorded at?
That was recorded in East Wenatchee, actually. Okay. Yeah, at a studio. A lot of local musicians had gone there. I'm kind of spacing on the name of the. Chad Yenny is, I think, recorded this, if I remember right. He has since moved though, so a lot of local bands are going to have to find a new place to record. But yeah, he did a great job with this album.
And Joel has written an autobiography, which is also available for you to check out.
So we have a featured book, and it's actually compiled by 2 of the members of Not All There, the band, and by Dustin Hayes and Matt Smith. It's a compilation of 1990s Wenatchee music scene. So it's got posters, pictures, writings, kind of history of some bands, and it all kind of ties together because, the record expo is at the Oddfellows Hall. There's a lot of posters and pictures from the Oddfellows Hall from the 90s from shows there, where also Not All There played. So it kind of comes full circle.
A lot of fond memories of Saturday nights at the Franklin House.
Yes, a lot of
for
Franklin
me,
House.
I don't really remember anymore, but I was young, and I was, that kind of. This is a fascinating book.
It's great.
This is also going to be for sale.
Yeah, that's on its second printing, I think, and that's for sale for $20 at the expo table. Yep.
Do you think the success of this expo is kind of opened up maybe some younger musicians to maybe take their hobby a little more seriously and
I hope so.
Make a go of it?
Yeah, I mean, the hope is that, I know vinyl has caught on with younger people, and the hope is that, they take the record home, they pull out the liner and the sleeve, and they read the notes, and they look at it, and it kind of sparks an interest in them to, maybe pick up that instrument more and play and start a band and see that you can do this, and yeah.
A couple of things, because people are going to ask me, so I'm going to ask you. Folks are going to, and I saw this last year. I didn't see it too much in May. I saw a lot of it last November at the second Apple Valley Vinyl. People were bringing in their own records and asking for expert analysis on what is this worth. Is that really not encouraged? I mean, these guys are trying to sell, and women are trying to sell their stuff. Is it?
Yeah, I have. Sometimes people contact me and see if they can bring records down
to have them appraised.
Yeah,
and I saw that last year.
Yeah, and sometimes, if I have time, I can eyeball stuff and look it up on a website called Discogs. Discogs.com is a great resource for that. I've had a few people that wanted to sell their collections just to see if we had buyers there, and some of the vendors there are buyers. So in theory, if you had a small enough collection, just maybe get a hold of me ahead of time, or I can point you in the right direction. Yeah.
I used to get the call all the time, Aunt Ginny passed away and she's got 600 records, what are they worth? And I got tired of it after a while. I mean, it was flattering, but I got tired of it after a while, and I was sending everybody to Discogs or eBay, because basically the value of anything is what you can get for it, I suppose. So if there will be people who are going to understand the value of some records, but these people are also businessmen, so show a little common sense. May 18th at the IOOOOOOF Hall, right?
Yep.
How many extra O's did I throw in there? Walk me through the poster right there, buddy.
Yeah, so Saturday, May 18th, it is $5 admission, 10 a.m., early admission, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., but free after that, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Beverages and food?
Yep. We have Aloha Dreams Mobile Espresso. They're going to be serving up espresso and treats to everyone, and they'll be downstairs in the hall.
A couple of things. There's no central cashier. You're going to be doing one-on-one with the various vendors. So it's a good idea idea just to bring cash. That's what I discovered. I mean, a lot of these will have the little card in the phone kind of a thing, which I'm a little leery of. Anyway, just bring cash. That's what I did last year.
Yeah, and some people will have Square, Venmo, and stuff, and I have all that too. But to be safe, most vendors, I mean, every vendor is going to accept cash. Yeah. Yep.
I am looking forward to it. Again, it is May 18th at the IOOOOO. You know where it is. It's down the road from here. Doors open at 11. Early birds, you get in for $5. You get in at 10. Do we cover everything? Do we get everything in there?
I think so. I think one thing I'm bringing back is a listening station. So I'll have that. Now that I've said that, I kind of have to do it. But it was suggested I bring that back. So I'll have it downstairs somewhere. So if you see a record, you want to check the quality or just listen to it briefly before you buy it, I'll have a listening station set up, kind of like a record store. So.
Yeah, and I bought all the records that I bought both in May and especially in November. They had no problems with you examining the actual vinyl itself, taking it out of the sleeve and holding it up to the light, and looking for nicks and pops and dust and that. They didn't have any problems with that. Yeah, I scored Buffalo Springfield, the 2-record retrospect from '73, which I had and lost. Now I got it. And it's a great kid. Chuck Berry's St. Louis to Liverpool record, which I've been looking for years. One of the great rock and roll records. It was in almost mint condition.
Wow.
And you can't find it anywhere.
Yeah.
And I got that for a really good deal. Niels Lofgren's first solo album, which I'd lost years ago, and I finally got that one back. So it was that I went down and spent a lot of money on that Saturday, and then I spent the next 3 days listening to music.
Nice.
Which I do anyway. So there you go. Joel Byring, they have a Facebook page, Apple Valley Record Expo. Just type it in the Facebook search bar, and you're good to go. There you go. One more time. I will see you Saturday, May 18th at 9:59 in the morning.
Yep. Yeah, and if I could just give a shout out to our sponsors
Please
too.
do. Oh yeah, go right ahead.
Comet Magazine's been a huge sponsor.
Thank you, Ron.
Yep. And
thank you, sponsor.
The Time Capsule Shop in downtown Wenatchee.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. They have a great shop downtown, and everyone should check that shop out. And Road Trip Records out of Ellensburg, and Mark Pickerel, that's his shop in Ellensburg, or his he has locations at various places in Ellensburg, and he's the drummer from the Screaming Trees, and that's kind of his brand.
One last thing, and I cannot forget this, and I was surprised to see this. Not just vinyl. You'll see people selling vintage reel-to-reel, and one guy was selling laser discs, 45 RPMs, weird kind of box sets, imports, all kinds of interesting things. Not just records.
Yeah, different formats for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So check it out. Joel, have a good day.
Thank you.
All right,
thanks for having me on.
You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We'll be right back.
"60 years ago, we opened up the first Abby's right here where I'm sitting.
All I wanted is people to show up.
We were trying to build pizza eaters is what we were trying to do, and it worked. We were very successful, and we were very happy about it.
Every day is Taco Tuesday at Abby's. Our Taco Especial is on sale 7 days a week, loaded with beef or chicken, onions, olives, tomatoes, cheddar cheese, and lettuce. It's a pizza that you won't forget. Dine in or order online for takeout or delivery right to your door.
Hey, hon, would you run this around to the wash rack?
Oh, okay.
Hey, hon, what happened?
They shrunk the truck.
The all-new mid-size Canyon is now available at Sangster Motors.
I chose Pinnacles because they give you a lot of opportunities for really fun field trips and activities.
It's a smaller school, so you feel more connected to other people.
My favorite thing about Pinnacles is definitely how we got to choose our elective.
I learn at my own speed. It's a place where people can be who they want to be, and they show that by using their epic values.
We choose Pinnacles because the staff is accepting.
Well, as expected, the high clouds are beginning to drift in. We're going to see some high clouds thickening up as the day progresses. They'll be up there in the atmosphere, but we're going to see some filtered sunshine. The big story today from Mother Nature's perspective, the wind. Very windy today as far as sustained winds, 15 to 20 miles an hour for the valley, but as you can see there by that graphic provided by the National Weather Service, we can see the occasional gust between 35 and 40 miles an hour, and downright blustery in Ellensburg. Look at that, wind gusts to 50 to 60 miles an hour. Now, they're used to that in Ellensburg, but even that's pretty strong. In fact, they have a wind advisory for the Ellensburg and Cle Elum area. They're going to be very windy down there. And on top of all that, the system that's coming in is very dry, bone dry. So hopefully we won't have any kind of wildfire problems. From the National Weather Service, again, a little on the windy side this afternoon with increasing clouds. We'll top off at 74. Sustained winds about 20 miles an hour. Tonight, mostly clear, still breezy. Sustained winds at about 15 miles an hour, but still the occasional rogue gust above that. We'll get down to 50, 79 for the high on Tuesday. By Wednesday, we'll be done with the wind. We'll be up to 83. Wednesday looks good. Thursday looks good. Sunshine and 84, and then the temperatures will be dropping back down towards the end of the week as the next system comes through. And that's it for us. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to Live It Up, the show where we explore and discuss how to take your life to that next level and beyond. We cover health, wealth, relationships, and how to create a life that feels good, because after all, that's what we all want. We want to feel good. I'm your host and coach, Fletcher Ellingson, and today on the show, we'll be visiting with Norma Maravilla, owner of Bellas Artes Imports Concept House, which is a lifestyle boutique, and it's full of one-of-a-kind, beautiful